Welcome to the Playing Books podcast.
Great to be here.
Today on our show, we're taking a really in-depth exploration of a book that I think fundamentally challenges how we think about success, both professionally and personally. It's Keith Ferrazzi's Never Eat Alone and Other Secrets to Success, One Relationship at a Time, written with Tal Raz.
And it's not just, another typical business book, is it?
Not at all. It feels much more profound, almost philosophical, really digging into the fabric of human connection itself.
Right, how we relate to each other.
What Ferrazzi offers here is this powerful, maybe even counterintuitive stance that success, it's not just a solo endeavor. It's not just about sheer individual brilliance.
No, he argues it's meticulously built, one relationship at a time.
Exactly. And the book is packed with these personal anecdotes that feel surprisingly relatable.
Yeah.
Sharp insights, too, that kind of cut through the usual advice.
And very actionable strategies, things you can actually do to cultivate a robust network, a reciprocal one.
And his own journey really underscores it, doesn't it? From pretty humble beginnings to corporate leadership, then founding his own company.
It's a compelling testament to his advice, definitely. Challenges that whole idea of pure meritocracy or just rugged self-reliance.
It really does.
What I find truly illuminating in his work is how he completely redefines networking.
Right. It's got such a bad rap sometimes.
It really does. People think of it as transactional, maybe even a bit sleazy, like collecting business cards at some stale convention.
Yeah, exactly that image.
But he elevates it, makes it this grander philosophy of life.
How so?
At its heart, it's rooted in proactive generosity, genuine connection, and this almost radical belief in interdependence.
Interdependence, not independence.
Precisely. It's about building meaningful human bonds, bonds that provide mutual support, mutual upliftment, not just tallying contacts for some future favor you might need.
That's a huge shift in mindset.
It is. And our mission today in this podcast is really to unpack that philosophy, to look at the core strategies he outlines with all their practical precision.
And explore how these principles can maybe transform your approach, both to your career and, well, your whole life. So for those of you listening, maybe you're already aware of the power of connection, but you're looking for those nuanced insights. This podcast offers, hopefully, a fresh, distilled perspective.
A shortcut, maybe, to understanding why you can't get there alone isn't just a saying.
Right. It's the foundation, the bedrock under almost every significant, sustained success story. We're going to dive into some really insightful nuggets from Ferrazzi's journey and his advice, and challenge you, the listener, to think about how these ideas could enhance your own life.
Sounds great. Let's get into it.
The foundational belief, you can't get there alone.
Okay, so Keith Ferrazzi's origin story. It's not one of privilege, not in the usual sense.
No, not at all. He starts by painting this really vivid picture, doesn't he? Working class roots in Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the caddying job, spending summers at the local country club. And for him, it wasn't just, a summer job. It was like this accidental masterclass in social dynamics.
He really observed things there.
He did. He saw this stark contrast to his own background. These wealthy individuals weren't just like playing golf. They were actively helping each other.
In what ways?
Securing jobs for each other, pooling money for investments, using their influence to get kids into top schools, internships, the whole network effect in action.
So it wasn't just about the money they had.
No, that's what he realized. It was fundamental. It was about their access, their connections, this ingrained culture of reciprocal support.
That's a powerful observation for a young kid.
Extremely. And it became even clearer, more poignant when he got to Harvard Business School later.
Right. He talks about feeling intimidated there.
Totally. He felt completely out of place, surrounded by, as he puts it, purebreds from McKinsey and Goldman Sachs with these long pedigrees and legacies.
You have the Roman numerals in their names.
Exactly. And he's wondering, how does a guy like him, working class background, liberal arts degree, how does he compete?
But those lessons from the caddy yard,
Yeah.
they gave him a different perspective.
I did. A unique lens. And it led him to this really profound realization about poverty.
What was that?
That it wasn't just about lacking money. More fundamentally, it was, and I quote, isolation from the kind of people that could help you make more of yourself.
Wow. Isolation is the key factor.
Yeah. That the real, often invisible currency of success, it's human connection.
That observation, as you highlighted, that was definitely a pivotal aha moment for him.
It seems like it shaped everything that followed.
Absolutely. It led him to this powerful, life-altering realization that ultimate success Well, it matters less how smart you are, how much innate talent you're born with, or even where you came from.
So what does matter most?
The key insight was crystal clear. You can't get there alone.
Simple but profound.
Right. He argues, pretty forcefully, that without the active support, the guidance, the collaboration of others, you just can't get very far at all.
And this flies in the face of a lot of cultural narratives, doesn't it?
Completely. It fundamentally challenges what he calls that John Wayne individualism.
The lone hero myth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so deeply ingrained in American culture, especially in business. This idea that you have to do it all yourself.
And asking for help or actively building connections that's seen as weak or manipulative.
Often, yeah. Dismissed as schmoozing or brown-nosing or being a smarmy sycophant, as he puts it.
But Ferrazzi flips that script.
He totally flips it. He says collaboration, proactive connection, genuine interdependence. These aren't weaknesses, they're virtues, things to be actively cultivated, even celebrated.
So what does this mean for us, that, practically? How did he learn this lesson beyond just observation?
Well, it wasn't just theory for him. He learned it early, through real people. He tells the story of Mrs. Poland.
The elderly club member.
That's her. He meticulously supported her golf game, apparently even hid her cigarettes for her during rounds.
Going the extra mile.
Definitely. And in return, she didn't just say thanks. She used her connections, introduced him to influential people at the club.
So a direct reciprocal dynamic.
Yeah.
Born from genuine effort.
Exactly. It showed him the ripple effect of sincere engagement. And then there was winning the Caddy Award.
Which led to caddying for Arnold Palmer.
Right. And the amazing part is, Palmer himself started as a caddy at that same club and eventually bought it.
Incredible. Talk about proof that your past doesn't dictate your future.
It was huge for Ferrazzi. Inspirational proof, he says, that your past need not be prologue to your future. A lesson in breaking boundaries.
And Mrs. Poland wasn't the only example, right? His father played a role too.
Oh, absolutely. His father embodied this principle of, well, audacious connection.
The story about the scholarship.
Yes. His dad was a steelworker, and he had the sheer moxie, as Ferrazzi calls it, to directly approach the CEO of his company, Alex McKenna.
Just walked up to the CEO.
Apparently so, to secure a scholarship for young Keith to attend a private school.
Wow, that takes courage.
Immense courage. And that single act of audacity, just asking with conviction, it fundamentally changed Keith's educational path. Opened doors to Valley School, Kiski, Yale, Harvard Business School.
It's an amazing testament to just asking.
It really is. It wasn't about entitlement. It was about being driven, being unafraid to seek help from those who could offer it. Understanding the worst they can say is no.
That's a lesson in itself.
Connecting this to the bigger picture, the broader canvas of career and life. It just profoundly underscores the huge value of initiative.
And recognizing that anyone could be a gateway.
Exactly. Everyone, regardless of their current status, can be a gateway to new opportunities. It's not about being born into privilege. It's about understanding and actively playing the game of life by its real rules.
The rules of connection and reciprocity.
Ferrazzi points out that many of his Harvard Business School classmates, despite their amazing academic credentials, often lack these crucial skills, these strategies for fostering relationships.
So social intelligence, emotional literacy, maybe even more vital than pure intellect.
He certainly makes a strong case for it.
Yeah.
It's a critical, yet often overlooked skill set.
And he's careful to draw a line between this kind of connecting and just cold networking.
Very careful. For him, connecting is much richer, much more encompassing.
How does he define it?
He defines it as sharing knowledge and resources, time and energy, friends and associates, and empathy and compassion, proactively providing value to others.
And the result.
The beauty is, as he observes, it coincidentally increases one's own. It's not just giving, it's building something mutually beneficial.
So relationship management, not transaction management.
Perfectly put, it's a continuous evolving process of giving and receiving. He firmly believes that people do business with people they know and like.
And it goes beyond business too, right? To overall well-being.
Absolutely. Our happiness, he argues, is largely dictated by the support, the guidance, the love we get from the community we build for ourselves. It's holistic.
Which brings us back to his own path, the mentors he mentions.
Right. George Love, the lawyer. Walt Saling, the stockbroker. He credits them vividly with shaping his understanding of relationships.
They took him under their wings.
Yeah. Shared invaluable street-smart wisdom, professional stories. Ferrazzi calls it the fertile soil for his ambitions.
And this guidance directly impacted his career.
Undeniably.
Hmm.
From his first job at Deloitte, where he rose incredibly fast, youngest CMO, youngest partner TAP,
Wow.
to Starwood Hotels, youngest CMO in the Fortune 500 there too, and then founding Ferrazzi Greenlight.
Quite a trajectory.
He calls it a crazy quilt of top-level jobs.
Yeah.
And every time he needed advice or considered a move or faced a hurdle,
He turned to his network.
he turned to the circle of friends he had created around him. It shows this direct, clear link between those early observations at the country club and his later achievements.
It really proves the point. Who you know and how genuinely you know them truly matters.
It absolutely does.
Beyond networking, the philosophy of connecting.
Okay, so Ferrazzi makes this really compelling case that traditional networking, well, it often gets it wrong.
Yeah, because people approach it with the wrong mindset.
Transactional, right? Like a quid pro quo, only reaching out when they need something urgently, hoarding contacts.
Exactly. Waiting for a crisis or that perfect moment to cash in a favor.
But Ferrazzi just flips that whole idea on its head.
Completely. He advocates for this philosophy of proactive, almost radical generosity.
What's the core principle there?
It's remarkably simple, but really powerful. It's better to give before you receive and never keep score.
Never keep score. That's tough for some people.
It is, but he insists if your interactions are ruled by generosity, your rewards will follow suit. It's not just manners. It's the most effective long-term strategy.
He has an anecdote about this, doesn't he? Hollywood David.
Ah, yes. The cautionary tale. This entrepreneur he knew in Santa Monica. David was smart, good at making initial connections, but he hoarded his relational equity. Always calculating, always waiting for his payoff.
And the outcome.
10 years later, Ferrazzi says, David looked around and discovered there was nothing more to hoard. His network just evaporated.
Ouch.
Yeah. No one hears from him anymore. It highlights that crucial truth. A lack of generosity, constantly keeping score, it leads to isolation.
It shows a relationship isn't a ledger. It needs continuous selfless investment.
Precisely, a powerful warning against that kind of transactional short-sightedness.
And Ferrazzi frames this generosity not just as being nice, but as strategic. He calls it career karma.
Right, and it's not some naive, feel-good concept. It's a really sophisticated understanding that real, lasting power in your career comes from being indispensable.
Indispensable. How do you achieve that through generosity?
He argues that indispensability comes from proactively being a switchboard.
A switchboard, like an old telephone operator.
Okay. Kind of. Parceling out as much information, contacts, and goodwill to as many people in as many different worlds as possible.
Connecting others, sharing resources freely.
Exactly. The profound insight isn't just about being generous, it's his reframe of self-interest. By prioritizing giving first, you're not just being altruistic.
You're building a reputation.
You're strategically building an undeniable reputation as a value creator, making yourself resilient, indispensable in the long run. It's like the ultimate intelligent risk management for your career.
Especially in today's fluid economy.
Right. It turns generosity into an asset that consistently makes the pie bigger for everyone.
And this idea of being your own switchboard, it connects to the changing nature of work, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That old loyalty we used to give corporations, back in the days of lifetime corporate employment.
Which is pretty much dead now.
Exactly. As Ferrazzi says, we're all free agents now, managing our own careers across multiple jobs and companies.
So our loyalty, our security system has to shift.
It has to be consciously invested in our own cultivated web of relationships. Our personal network, built on giving and connection, becomes our new security.
It's like professional insurance in an unpredictable world.
He argues it's the surest way to become and remain thought leaders of our respective fields.
Which makes me think about that striking metaphor he uses. Calling independence, autonomy is a life vest made out of sand. Oh, it's such a harsh image.
It's deliberately harsh, I think, because in his experience, independent people who do not have the skills to think and act interdependently may be good individual producers, but they won't be seen as good leaders or team players.
So even if you're brilliant individually,
your career will inevitably stutter and stall because you lack that crucial ability to cooperate, build alliances, and navigate complex social stuff.
And today's world demands that collaboration more than ever.
Absolutely. In this fluid, competitive landscape where, as he says, yesterday's assistant is today's influence peddler, we're all more interdependent.
So that life vest made of sand, it looks secure, but it isn't.
It offers a seductive but ultimately false sense of security. leads to isolation, stagnation. It's a powerful warning that self-sufficiency has its limits.
Okay. But while he pushes for bold connection, he also warns against being, well, a networking jerk.
Oh, definitely. He lays out some clear rules. Cardinal sins, really.
What are the big ones?
First, don't schmooze. Which doesn't mean don't talk, but...
Have something real to say.
Exactly. Focus on meaningful dialogues, not just superficial encounters. He mocks those vapid emails. Dear Keith, I hear you're a good networker. I am too. Let's get coffee.
Yeah, why would he respond to that? No value, no connection.
None. Second, don't treat those under you poorly because, as he says, the food chain is transient.
He uses the Michael Ovid's example, right? The super agent.
Yeah, whose career kind of imploded, partly because he got a reputation for treating people badly once he didn't need them. A timeless lesson. Respect everyone.
Definitely. What's the third rule?
Don't be too efficient, which is fascinating in our digital age. Mass emails, impersonal blasts, they lack sincerity. He shares his own embarrassing holiday card blunder.
Oh yeah, sending multiple cards to the same person.
3. To the same college roommate, all with different signatures. It just screams impersonal. It's about the quality of the touch, not the quantity.
And the story about Mary, the assistant?
Pat Locanto's assistant at Deloitte. It perfectly illustrates the power of gatekeepers. You have to treat everyone with respect. Alienate an assistant, and you might find crucial doors slammed shut.
Good reminder, treat everyone well.
The essential skill set preparation and proactivity.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. From the philosophy behind it all to the practical how-to. Ferrazzi really hammers home this idea. Spectacular achievement is always preceded by spectacular preparation.
And he doesn't just mean being generally ready.
No, it's about targeted, deep, almost forensic research before you interact with someone.
He treats every meeting, even a casual coffee, like a campaign, not just a chat.
So what's the core advice there? How do you prepare like that?
Before any meeting, he says, truly research the person. Dig deep.
Beyond just their LinkedIn profile.
Way beyond. Their hobbies, professional challenges, personal goals, inside and outside work, their proudest achievements. He even suggests creating a one-page synopsis.
A one-pager on the person.
Focusing on what this person is like as a human being. Trying to understand their passions, their motivations, beyond the job title.
That's intense. Does he give an example?
Yeah, his own prep for the Milken Institute's global conference, this huge gathering of top CEOs and thinkers.
What did he do?
He'd scout the rooms beforehand, compile detailed bios, prepare those one-pagers for the specific VIPs he wanted to meet.
So he wasn't leaving it to chance.
Not at all. This groundwork, he says, let him transcend the trivialities of polite chit-chat and connect on a much deeper, more personal level. He engineered meaningful encounters.
He compares this to Winston Churchill, right?
He does. Churchill, the oratory genius. Ferrazzi points out that his brilliance wasn't just innate, it was the blood, sweat, and tears of preparation.
Knowing his audience, how to connect.
Exactly. Painstaking effort to know them intimately, understand how to push their buttons. It shows even seemingly natural talent often comes from immense, focused prep.
Okay, so preparation is key. Then he calls the difference between cold and warm.
Right. And he's blunt about it. He says, quote, cold calls are for suckers.
Huh. Okay, so no cold calls ever.
His whole philosophy is built on that. You should never make a truly cold call. The goal is to make every interaction a warm one.
How? Through that preparation we just talked about.
Partly, but also by leveraging existing connections. This is where your network, even those weak ties Gladwell talks about, becomes incredibly powerful.
So find a mutual connection first.
Utilize mutual friends or even acquaintances. That creates immediate credibility, a subtle sense of obligation. Tools like LinkedIn, Spoke, Capital IQ can help uncover these links.
He tells a story about connecting Jeff Arnold from WebMD with Sony.
Yes, a great example of intricate strategic connection. Ferrazzi knew the CEO of Sony, Howard Stringer, but didn't just rely on that.
He went another route.
He found John Partilla, CEO of Brand Buzz, an agency working with Sony, who was also a close friend. But Ferrazzi didn't just ask Partilla for a favor.
He offered
two distinct opportunities for Partilla. 1, meet Jeff Arnold, a potential future client. 2, look great to Sony by bringing them this innovative WebMD distribution tech.
Smart. A win-win-win.
Exactly. That secured the introduction to Serge Del Grosso at Sony. It was carefully orchestrated reciprocity.
And he has specific tactics for these warm calls, too.
Yeah. Like calling at unusual times, 8 a.m., 6:33 p.m., when busy people might actually answer their own phones.
Makes sense. And leaving messages.
Convey urgency and optimism. Something like, I'm sure I'll hear from your admin, but I'm really looking forward to our meeting. And critically personalize the pitch.
Show you've done your homework.
Demonstrate specific knowledge of their business, their needs, their challenges. That cuts through the noise.
Okay, so you make the connection, then comes follow-up. He seems almost obsessive about this.
He really emphasizes it. States unequivocally, follow-up is the key to success in any field.
Not just polite, but fundamental.
Absolutely fundamental. For solidifying the relationship, nurturing it into something lasting.
What's his specific advice for follow-up?
Follow up fast. Within 24 hours, an email is good.
And include what?
Critically, cite specific points from the conversation. It serves as a mental reminder of who I am, anchors the interaction in their memory.
Smart. What else?
Program reminders. Use your calendar, whatever tool, to ping people again in a month. Keep that consistent engagement going.
And reiterate commitments. Suggest next steps.
Yes. And beyond digital stuff, send relevant articles that show you're thinking of them. And for maximum impact,
A handwritten note.
the handwritten thank you note. He asks, when's the last time you received a handwritten letter? It just stands out so much. Creates real goodwill.
Mentioning a shared moment or joke helps too.
Definitely. Reinforces that personal bond. Express genuine gratitude.
It seems simple, but why do so many people drop the ball on follow-up?
Ferrazzi thinks it's about breaking through the noise, information overload.
Our brains are just constantly bombarded.
Exactly. Without deliberate, systematic effort, new contacts just wither and fade from memory. So repetition is crucial to staying front and center in someone's mental Rolodex.
You need consistent reinforcement.
Otherwise, even a great initial connection gets lost.
So how do you manage that systematically?
He advocates for systemization. He describes rating his contacts 1, 2, or 3 for monthly, quarterly, or less frequent outreach. Ensures consistent, targeted engagement.
And segmented lists, like a New York list.
Yeah, so when he travels, he can efficiently work through contacts in that city.
He has a surprising tip, too, about calling sometimes not to get through.
Right. Allows you to leave a thoughtful message, make a touch point, keep in touch without needing a long conversation, saves time, maintains presence.
Interesting tactic. And birthdays. He prefers those to holiday cards.
Much more impactful and personal, he argues. Holiday cards get lost in the shuffle. Birthdays stand out.
The Kent Blossel story illustrates that, right?
Yeah. Poignantly. Kent was choked up when Ferrazzi called on his birthday because, despite having family, nobody else remembered.
Wow. Shows the emotional power of a truly personal outreach. Making someone feel seen.
Exactly.
Strategic engagement, leveraging relationships, and building your circle.
Okay, moving beyond those one-on-one interactions, Ferrazzi talks about conferences, but not just attending, becoming a conference commando.
Yeah, it's not about passively milling around. It's about being incredibly proactive, strategic, almost audacious.
He says don't think of it as a retreat. Think of it as a campaign.
A well-coordinated campaign to further your mission. That's the mindset.
So what are the rules for commandos?
First, and this is brilliant, help the organizer. Or better yet, be the organizer.
Why? What does that get you?
Insider access, attendee lists, exclusive dinners, private cocktail parties where the real players, the conference poobahs, gather.
How do you even offer to help?
He suggests calling the organizer months ahead. Offer your time, creativity, or connections to make the event a smash hit. It immediately sets you apart as a contributor.
Smart. What's the second rule?
Listen and speak. Don't just absorb. Participate actively. He encourages people to try and become a speaker. Instant credibility, faux fame, he calls it.
And if speaking isn't an option?
Be among the first to ask a really good, insightful question during Q&A. Use the moment to introduce yourself and your company memorably.
Okay. And the third tactic? Guerrilla warfare.
Yeah. Organizing a conference within a conference. Setting up your own private dinner or outing. Especially targeting VIPs who might arrive without plans. He used to send faxes to their hotels.
Faxes? Wow. Inviting them to drinks.
Pre- or post-conference drinks.
Yeah.
Basically, carving out a more intimate, influential space within the larger event.
Then there's deep bumping. This sounds interesting.
It's not just a lucky encounter, it's calculated audacity.
How does it work?
You strategically position yourself to meet a high-value person. Then, crucially, you use a pre-researched, powerful mutual connection as your immediate in to start a real conversation.
He did this with Barry Diller?
Yeah. Positioned himself in Diller's path, then dropped Barry Sternlicht's name, a high-level mutual connection, introduced himself, expressed admiration,
And it worked.
secured a follow-up meeting, led to a job offer, new clients eventually.
Yeah.
It's about calculated risk and preparation.
But he also warns about who not to be at these things.
Oh, yeah. Avoid being a king shaker just after a photo op, no real talk.
Or the smarmy eye darter.
Right. Lacks sincerity, always scanning for someone better. Or the card dispenser master, just collecting contacts like a phone book. No real connection made.
Quality over quantity, always.
That's the key.
Okay, so let's dig into another key concept, connectors.
Ah, yes. These are the individuals who know an unusually large number of people across many different diverse worlds.
And Ferrazzi sees them as foundational.
As the cornerstones to any flourishing network, because they naturally embody that 6 degrees of separation idea.
He mentions Malcolm Gladwell here too, the strength of weak ties.
Exactly. It's often acquaintances, not close friends, who bring the most novel information, fresh perspectives, unexpected opportunities.
Why is that?
Because they operate in different social circles. They bring totally new data points and connections into your sphere.
And he connects this to Stanley Milgram's experiment, the small world study.
Right. Milgram's 1967 study surprisingly showed that most connection chains, even across huge distances, tend to flow through just a few key superconnectors.
Like those 3 Nebraskans in the study.
Exactly. A majority of the letters pass through their hands. It shows the disproportionate influence of these central hubs.
So if you want to tap into that power of weak ties,
It's strategically vital to know a few superconnectors yourself.
does he say where to find them?
He identifies several professions where they often congregate. Restaurateurs, natural hosts who know influential regulars,
Headhunters.
professional matchmakers. Lobbyists know the ropes in big organizations. Government. Fundraisers know who has money and who gives it.
Politicians. Journalists.
Politicians are inveterate networkers. Journalists are always hungry for stories and sources. Plus, lawyers, brokers. These key professionals.
He uses Paul Revere as an example.
A brilliant one. Profiles him as a Connectors Hall of Fame member. Shows how Revere masterfully used his diverse network businessmen, club members, Masons during the Revolution.
To spread the word quickly and effectively.
Precisely. He accessed specific people through specific connections, like the church sexton, to get those lanterns lit. A master connector in action.
Which leads really nicely into this idea of social arbitrage.
Yes. Finding ways to make other people more successful by connecting individuals from different parts of your life who could benefit from knowing each other.
Bridging gaps in networks.
Proactively creating value by making those connections.
And the core idea is just do it. Don't wait to be asked.
Exactly. Actively listen for problems or needs. Then immediately think, who in my network could help? Who should these 2 people know?
He tells a story about the CEO of High Sierra Bags.
Yeah, Hank Birnbaum had marketing problems. Ferrazzi connected him with a former Starwood marketing consultant and Reebok's CMO.
So multiple solutions came out of it.
Not just solutions for Hank, but benefits for the consultant and the CMO too. It started with one problem, ended with several people and many solutions.
He calls this achieving indispensability.
Right. Real power comes from being that switchboard, being the person who consistently distributes value information, contacts, goodwill. It fuels that career karma.
And you don't need money or status to do this. He mentions knowledge as currency.
A really important point. Knowledge from books, articles, the internet. It's often free, but incredibly valuable.
His suggestion, create a big idea of the month clicks notes.
Yeah. Summarize insights from a great book or article. Share it proactively with your contacts. A simple, effective way to start doing social arbitrage and position yourself as a resource.
He profiles Vernon Jordan too, right? Another connector example.
Yes. Jordan masterfully leveraged his connections across corporate America and the civil rights movement. Made himself indispensable by bringing different worlds together. Helped countless people, including Monica Lewinsky, find opportunities during tough times.
It's about being that bridge.
Precisely.
Okay, but connecting people is one thing. How do you build deeper intimacy quickly? Go beyond just transactions. He talks about the art of small talk, but with a twist.
A surprising, almost counterintuitive twist, yeah.
Yeah.
He argues against always avoiding unpleasant, personal, or controversial topics.
Really? Isn't that the standard advice? Play it safe.
It is. But he says if you want to differentiate yourself and build genuine bonds, you need to be yourself. And crucially, embrace vulnerability.
Vulnerability in a business context, that sounds risky.
He argues it's one of the most underappreciated assets in business today, a radical departure from that guarded professional mask.
Does he give an example of this working?
A very vivid one. He was at a stuffy conference board dinner with heads of marketing from huge companies, Walmart, eBay.
Okay.
He'd just gone through a tough breakup, was in no mood for small talk, initially hid behind polite questions.
Understandable.
But then he made a conscious choice. He revealed his recent breakup.
To these high-level executives.
Yeah.
Wow, how did they react?
It instantly transformed the whole table. Dull, formal chat turned into this cathartic bonding experience. These buttoned-up execs started sharing their own stories. Relationships, divorce, life challenges.
Amazing.
It led to real friendships, even future customers. It broke down the barriers immediately.
He mentions the Johari window.
Yeah, his mentor Greg Seal taught him about it.
Yeah.
It's a psychological tool about self-awareness. How much we reveal about ourselves, our open area, versus what's hidden or unknown affects connection.
So vulnerability expands that open area.
Intentionally, yes. It rapidly builds trust and rapport. His fail-safe phrase captures this. You're wonderful. Tell me more.
It invites reciprocity, genuine curiosity.
Exactly. And he points out Dale Carnegie was teaching similar things decades ago, remembering names, listening, sharing stories. These principles are timeless, maybe more powerful now than ever.
And to really solidify these connections, make them flourish. Dinner parties.
He champions the dinner party, elevates it from just a social thing to an art and a powerful strategic tool.
Why are they so powerful?
The companionable effects of breaking bread, maybe having some wine, it brings people together differently, creates memories, strengthens relationships.
He started small himself, right, in a tiny apartment.
Yeah, his dingy Cambridge apartment proves you don't need a mansion. It's about the intention.
What's his strategy for them?
Be deliberate about the mix of people.
And use anchor tenants.
Anchor tenants.
Someone influential, CEO, journalist, artist, someone with power to attract other interesting people from outside your usual circle. Journalists are great anchors, he says. Always looking for material, enjoy a good meal.
Makes sense. Logistics matter too. Definitely. Optimal size, 6-10 guests. He does 14 now. Maybe extra people for drinks before or after.
Themes.
Invites.
A theme can work. He mentions Perdita Houston's For Women-Only dinners during the Carter administration. Send invites a month out. Keep food simple, reduce stress, create atmosphere candles, music.
And the seating arrangement.
Critically. Don't seat couples together. Encourages broader interaction, new conversations. Mix it up.
Cultivating your brand and impact.
Moving on, Ferrazzi argues that in today's world, just being good at your job isn't enough anymore. You have to be interesting.
Yeah, it's not optional, he says. It's essential for standing out in all the noise and cynicism.
It's about more than competence.
Much more. It's about actively cultivating a unique perspective, consistently having something valuable and memorable to contribute.
He complains about students just saying, "Hi, your talk was great."
Right. Nothing unique, nothing to differentiate them, no hook for a real conversation.
So what's the solution? How do you be interesting? Cultivate niche interests. Passion for jazz, experience living abroad, well-reasoned contrarian views. Whatever it is. Keep up rigorously with current events. Read broadly, NYT, WSJ, diverse sources.
Be aware of your intellectual property.
Yeah, what unique insights, knowledge, connections do you possess? People hire those they think can make them and their companies better. That requires an expanded view of the world.
Not just your narrow job description.
Exactly. He shares a story from his Yale days, running for city council more for the attention than passion.
And he lost.
He lost. To Joel Ratner, who had deep local roots and genuine passion, Ferrazzi learned a huge lesson.
What was that?
That his efforts needed to be powered by a deep passion and a set of beliefs that went well beyond my own personal benefit. Authenticity matters. There's a difference between getting attention and getting attention for wanting to make a difference.
That's a powerful distinction.
Yeah.
So how do you translate being interesting into a career asset? He talks about personal branding.
Forcefully, he quotes Tom Peters. We are CEOs of our own companies, Me Inc. Our most important job is to be head marketer for the brand called You.
So take ownership of your professional identity.
It's a call to action for personal responsibility in your career.
And differentiation is key, especially now.
Absolutely. In a world turned upside down where old conventions are meaningless, the choice is stark: to be distinct or extinct.
How do you build that distinct brand?
Continuously learn, grow, stretch your skills. That relentless pursuit of Library Peters talks about, View your resume as dynamic, always evolving.
And then package the brand.
Right. Polished appearance, distinctive style, memorable signatures, like his own early use of bow ties.
The bow ties made him memorable.
Instantly, people would say, "You were the guy in the bow tie."
It's a conscious effort to create a unique impression in a crowded field.
Okay, so you've built the brand. How do you get it noticed? He says, broadcast your brand, like a PR campaign for yourself.
Essentially, yes, not being boastful, but strategically amplifying your unique value to a wider audience. He uses his company Yaya as an example, the video game company.
Yeah, they were smaller, fewer resources than competitors. But they became a leader by creating buzz around a new concept, advergaming.
They didn't just compete, they defined a new market.
Exactly. Through deep research into both gaming and advertising, finding their unique point of view that games could be a powerful communication medium for business.
And part of broadcasting is media relations, building ties with journalists.
Crucial. Build those relationships before you need them. Send them info, meet for coffee, offer insights, scoops. Journalists are hungry for ideas, he says.
The goal isn't to work the press.
No, it's to genuinely help them do their job. Be available, facilitate contacts, master the soundbite.
Explain your value in 10 seconds.
Or less. And he champions the right stuff, writing articles, even for local papers or industry journals. Instant credibility, visibility.
Collaborative writing, too.
Even better. Connects you with respected people, expands your network exponentially through shared credit and research contacts. It's a powerful win-win.
This all points towards becoming a content creator, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's a huge emphasis. In our information economy, competence is just the entry fee. Creativity over mere competence and expertise over general knowledge is paramount.
Because ideas can't be outsourced.
The one thing no one has figured out how to outsource is the creation of ideas. Content creators are in high demand. They're the celebrities of their little worlds, always seen as one step ahead.
How do you become one? He mentions learning by teaching.
Yes, a very accessible way. He became an expert in TQM at ICI by volunteering to teach it, even with minimal background initially.
He found teaching was the best way to learn.
There's no better way to learn something and become an expert at it than to have to teach it. It solidified his knowledge, connected him with top minds, even created a new role for him.
And exposing yourself to unusual experiences, like Drucker's advice to learn the violin.
Right. Not for musical mastery, but to stimulate creativity, help you make connections others miss. Broad exposure fosters innovation.
He profiles the Dalai Lama here, too, as a content creator.
In a sense, yes. Highlighting his ability to tell a gripping story that's simple, universal, taps into shared identity. He makes people feel his position. That's a sophisticated form of content creation that moves people deeply. Powerful stuff.
The art of mutual growth, mentorship, and reciprocity.
Okay, let's talk about mentorship. Ferrazzi sees this as absolutely central to his whole philosophy.
Not just a phase, but a lifelong process of giving and receiving, always being both master and apprentice.
It's dynamic, reciprocal, fuels mutual growth.
Exactly. He points to examples like Intel's mentoring program.
What's special about Intel's approach?
They match people not just by job title, but by skills in demand. It fosters this company-wide inclusive learning network.
So information, skills, wisdom, contacts flow more freely. Breaks down silos.
Precisely. And he shares a personal story about his father again.
The steelworker.
Yeah, instilling in him an early comfort with seeking help from older, more experienced people. Taking young Keith to the diner to meet his friends.
Reinforcing that everyone has something to offer. No shame in asking.
Right. That early comfort profoundly shaped Ferrazzi's lifelong pursuit of mentors.
What makes a mentorship really work, according to Ferrazzi? He mentions utility and emotion.
Yeah, equal parts utility and emotion. It's not just about the tangible advice or connections you gain. It's the genuine care, the loyalty, the emotional investment from both sides.
His own mentorship with Pat Lecanto at Deloitte is a key
A
example.
prime example. He describes this dramatic recruitment dinner where Lecanto passionately convinced him to join.
And Ferrazzi made a bold counteroffer.
He did. He accepted if Lecanto promised him 3 dinners a year at this very restaurant for his whole tenure at Deloitte.
And Lecanto agreed.
He did. So Ferrazzi consistently had the ear of the CEO, with Lecanto looking out for me the entire time.
But Ferrazzi had to give back too?
Absolutely. His commitment to making Lecanto and the firm successful fostered that deep reciprocity, that emotional investment. It underscores his core principle. The best way to approach utility is to give help first. Add value to your mentors' lives from the start.
And this cycle continues, right? Finding mentors leads to becoming one.
Naturally, it creates that inclusive learning network he talks about. People constantly playing the role of both master and apprentice, teaching and being taught simultaneously.
And mentoring benefits the mentor, too.
Significantly, it provides spirit, enthusiasm, trust, and empathy. Revitalizes their own perspective, their sense of purpose. It's a powerful, virtuous cycle.
He profiles Eleanor Roosevelt here as connecting for mission.
Yes, a premier practitioner of connecting for friendship and deeply held principles. Her autobiography says being drawn together through the work is one of the most satisfying ways of making and keeping friends.
Even when her views were controversial.
Especially then. She used her vast network women's groups, the UN Human Rights Declaration, to advance her humanitarian mission, even when it meant sacrifice. Shows how connection can and should align with your deepest values, making the world better through connection.
Overcoming obstacles and maintaining your network.
Ferrazzi is surprisingly candid about the challenges, isn't he?
Yeah.
He admits he sometimes fails at networking, compares it to dating.
Yeah, acknowledges that fear of rejection is real, deeply ingrained, but he argues it's dwarfed by an even bigger fear, failure itself.
He calls the key quality audacity.
Right. For his father, asking was existential. Either he asked or his family didn't have. For Ferrazzi, it was about success. I either ask or I'm not successful.
He reframes the choice. Not success versus failure, but
Between choosing risk and striving for greatness or risking nothing and being certain of mediocrity, powerful choice.
he also tackles the fear of public speaking.
Which apparently consistently beats out death as the one thing we dread most. He urges commitment to getting better Toastmasters practice
He mentions Deanne Rosenberg, the Madam of Moxie.
as an embodiment of how self-assuredness, dogged persistence, and audacity lead to achievement.
What was her story?
In 1969, she read about the lack of female voices in the American Management Association, got ignored, rebuffed, but persisted relentlessly until she became the first woman to speak for them.
Wow. A testament to daring to ask, pushing through fear.
Refusing to take no for an answer when you believe in your mission.
Okay, so audacity is crucial, but how do you balance that with humility? Especially when you start getting close to power.
A delicate balance, for sure. He admits the conscious pursuit of people with power and celebrity has a bad rap, seen as opportunistic.
But he thinks it can be done sincerely.
Absolutely, with good intentions, if approached correctly.
He uses Newt Gingrich's fable.
Yeah.
Lion chasing mice versus antelope.
Yeah. Sometimes, despite the risk, pursuing powerful connections is worth it because they can make a disproportionate difference.
He calls this power by association.
Right. The subtle influence from being identified with influential people, internal sponsors, external figures like politicians, journalists, local mini-celebrities.
And connecting with actual celebrities, what's the key?
Trust, discretion, good intentions. Treat them as people, not stars. Focus on their interests, not their fame.
He talks about engaging with Howard Dean during his campaign.
Yeah. Ferrazzi was intrigued, proactively approached an aide, offered concrete advice, introductions from his network.
And Dean acknowledged it.
Publicly, at a fundraiser, said Ferrazzi was one of the main people responsible for me getting the traction early on.
So what's the actionable advice for listeners here?
Become a joiner. Local campaigns, advocacy groups, nonprofit boards. Expand your network with like-minded, influential people.
Sports, especially golf.
He calls golf the true hub of America's business elite. Builds camaraderie, trust away from the office, a place where people subtly assess potential partners for integrity, grace, under pressure.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned humility. Ferrazzi shares a really personal cautionary tale about hubris.
Yes, a stark, humbling reminder that even a master networker can stumble when ego gets in the way.
This was the Yale Conservative Alumni Foundation attempt with William F. Buckley, Jr.
That's the one. After what seemed like a great initial meeting, Ferrazzi gloated prematurely and, crucially, failed to properly close the deal with clarity.
What happened?
Public humiliation. Shamed in the Yale paper, depicted as being wounded by famous names falling on him. His supposed friends from that meeting abandoned him when he needed support.
That's harsh. What was the lesson?
Chillingly clear. Don't let a little vanity seep into your actions. Too much hubris and not enough humility. He realized his own insecurity drove him to trumpet my awards and failed to recognize those who had helped.
So ensure everyone's on the same page. Remember who helped you.
Ensure both parties know what exactly is being closed and that both remember thereafter. And that timeless rule. Never forget the person who brought you to the dance. Ego can destroy connections fast.
A powerful warning indeed.
The connected age, a timeless truth.
So as we kind of bring this all together, Ferrazzi reaches this provocative conclusion. Balance is BS.
Yeah, it sounds controversial, but it's a reframing.
He's not dismissing a fulfilling life.
No, he argues the real problem often isn't too many commitments, but too many people in our lives we genuinely don't like. That's what leads to feeling out of control, dissatisfied.
So the solution isn't just simplifying or compartmentalizing.
No, it's to actively get a life filled with people I love. He quotes the Dalai Lama. We human beings are social beings. Most of our happiness arises in the context of our relationships.
And this connects to work, too.
Directly. You can't love your life if you hate your work, he says. And people often hate work because they don't like the people they work with. The quality of relationships dictates the quality of life.
Which leads to his idea of the connected age.
Right. This reality where interdependence, interconnectivity define everything more than ever. That old rugged individualism idea is giving way to community and alliances.
Especially with technology breaking down barriers.
Exactly. There's no reason to live and work in isolation. But what's remarkable
is that the core principles haven't changed.
Despite all the tech, the fundamentals of dealing with people are the ones Dale Carnegie espoused over 60 years ago. They're universal and timeless. We just keep rediscovering them.
He shares a very personal story near the end about a Brooks Brothers shirt.
A really illustrative revelation. Growing up poor, he dreamed of affording one, saw it as the ultimate symbol that he'd arrived.
But when he finally bought one,
it lost 2 buttons after the first wash. He had this stark realization, this is what I've been waiting for.
Material success wasn't fulfilling.
No. And a later Vipassana meditation retreat helped solidify it. True, lasting fulfillment comes from relationships, not prestige or money.
He quotes Rabbi Kushner about souls hungry for meaning.
Yes. Our souls are not hungry for fame, comfort, wealth, or power. Our souls are hungry for meaning, that our lives matter. It refocused Ferrazzi's whole pursuit back to authentic, meaningful relationships.
So wrapping this all up, what does this deep dive into Never Eat Alone really mean for you, the listener?
Well, I think this podcast serves as a powerful reminder that our souls are hungry for meaning. And Ferrazzi's philosophy suggests that meaning is most richly found through genuine human connection.
It feels like an urgent call to action, doesn't it?
It does. To make a conscious decision starting today. To start making the contacts and accumulating the knowledge, experiences, and people to help you achieve your goals.
And the underlying concept here is abundance, right? Not scarcity.
Absolutely. That idea permeates everything. Creativity begets more creativity, money begets more money, knowledge begets more knowledge, friends beget more friends, success begets success. Most important, giving begets giving.
So investing in relationships isn't zero-sum.
Never. It creates a virtuous cycle. Proactive generosity multiplies opportunities, joy, rewards for everyone. It encourages us to approach connection with an open hand, trusting that the more you give, the more the world provides. Outro.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Never Eat Alone on the Playing Books podcast, that core message really hits home. Your net worth, in the truest, richest sense, really is your network.
But not just any network. One built on genuine care, proactive generosity, and that continuous, sincere desire to help others thrive.
It's about building a life rich in meaningful, supportive connections, not just professional wins. We really hope you've been as inspired by Ferrazzi's insights as we have.
Which brings us to a challenge for you, our listener, a question to ponder.
What is it?
What's one small, authentic step you can take today to foster a relationship without expecting anything back?
Good question. Like what?
Maybe it's that personalized follow-up email, an unexpected introduction for 2 people you think should know each other, or simply remembering and acknowledging someone's birthday.
How can you make that intentional, generous connection today? Enhance someone else's life.
Exactly. We invite you to really consider how these profound ideas can enhance your own life. Move from just thinking about it to actually doing it.
Because cultivating these deep, reciprocal connections, well, it takes consistent effort, it takes vulnerability, and yeah, a dose of that audacity Ferrazzi talks about.
It does. But as Keith Ferrazzi shows so well, the rewards go way beyond just professional success. They lead to a much fuller, richer, happier life.
Absolutely. We definitely encourage you to engage with Keith Ferrazzi on social media if you're interested, and of course to purchase Never Eat Alone to explore these powerful concepts even further for yourself.
It's definitely worth the read.
Thank you so much for joining us on this insightful journey here on the Playing Books podcast. We hope you feel inspired to connect more meaningfully.
And please don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share the Playing Books podcast with anyone else you think might appreciate a richer understanding of the world through books like this one.
Until next time, keep connecting.